A recent poll reveals that perceptions of coronavirus as dangerous or not is strongly correlated to political affiliations. About 4 in 10 Democrats say coronavirus is an imminent threat compared to 2 in 10 Republicans. Approximately 40% of Democrats say they haven't changed their routines as a result of coronavirus, compared to 54% of Republicans. In the poll, almost everyone surveyed said their opinion on the matter was not affected by their politics. Clearly. Along the same lines, the leader of the Italian Democratic Party now says that he has coronavirus. The Democratic Party is currently in power in the Italian government. And in Maryland, news came out recently that a man now confirmed to have coronavirus attended the Conservative Political Action Conference while he was ill. This conference is attended by basically everyone of any significance on the right, including the president and vice president, although there is no evidence that our leaders were actually exposed.
There's no getting away from coronavirus.
Yeah, okay, everyone else is covering this too, but
right. So
it's a pandemic. We got
the percentages that you just gave me. I'm going to ask you to give me those again.
Yeah.
What was it?
So 4 in 10 Democrats say coronavirus is an imminent threat compared to 2 in 10 Republicans. So twice as many. And interestingly, those numbers are still both much lower than I thought.
Right.
It's still less than a majority in both parties.
Right, but I feel like the follow-up statistic was contradictory to that.
It kind of was. And, that's always a thing with polling. It depends on how you ask the question.
Well, it seems like 4 in 10 Democrats think it's an issue, while 2 in 10 Republicans think it's an issue, but less Democrats are changing their life about it, and more Republicans are?
Oh, so the follow-up statistic was 40% haven't changed their routines. Of Democrats, but 54% say they haven't changed their routines. It was worded kind of weirdly.
I see.
Worded kind of weirdly.
Yeah.
But so basically, more than half of Republicans haven't changed their routines, and a little less than half of Democrats haven't changed their routines.
It makes you wonder if, because the automatic response to this is that, it's the president's fault, or it's the government's fault.
Sure.
It's the information coming from the White House. And, that was the automatic thing that I jumped to as well.
Mm-hmm.
But now that I think about it, it also might have to do with...
What?
You done looking at yourself?
No.
All right.
I will never be done mugging for the camera.
It also might have to do with the location of these people.
Yeah, and that's possible.
Because I live in a pretty rural area, and I do feel a little less threatened. I think if I were to live in New York City or live in a big city, I think I would be chronically more apt to be terrified. Yeah, you'd
be more worried. And more to the point, the West Coast has been hit very hard.
Right.
The East Coast is just starting to get it. Florida's just starting to get it. It's hardly in the South. It's hardly in, the Southwest. Mm. So I imagine that affects it too. But also, just when you look at media, right-wing media has tended to downplay the significance of the virus.
Right.
And I would say, not left-wing, but more mainstream media, I think has tended to be a little more hysterical about it. I think, just watching the evening news, it's like,
yeah,
okay.
I agree.
that's all they're talking about.
Well, you've been staying with us for the past couple of weeks, and every night we watch the news, and, the first thing that comes up is the death toll.
Yeah.
It's always all about the death toll.
The same stock footage of the cruise.
Right.
And then the same stock footage of, President
of the
Trump
nurses carrying the sheets as they're pushing people out and
exactly. So, I think it also really depends on where you get your news source. But compare that way on the other side, Rush Limbaugh said the coronavirus is just the common cold. And it's, a conspiracy.
And Trump told people to go to work.
The president. Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So,
which is, that's, I would argue, more wrong probably than being hyperbolic about it.
So I'm going to put this out there to the audience out there. Regardless of which side of the aisle you're on, your side is not doing a very good job.
Yes.
Of relaying smart information. I saw what's his name? Neil deGrasse Tyson. I saw Neil deGrasse Tyson on Stephen Colbert, and he was asked, what his take on the coronavirus was. And
because he has any training in medicine or anything related.
He, of course, put that out there. He said, I'm a well-read scientist, but of course I'm an astrophysicist, and this is not my field of expertise. But he said his view was of the coronavirus that we are going through a very large experiment right now, and the experiment is when life and death is on the line, will people listen to scientists?
Which, of course, obviously, no.
Well, some of them might. Do you?
I mean...
As much as you can. What one person can do, another can do. They might. Fear is a great motivator.
I don't know of any specific advice from scientists on this topic.
Wash your damn hands.
Yeah, I mean, I've been washing... I washed my hands before it was cool.
Yeah.
I washed my hands before there was coronavirus.
Totally. I was a shut-in before it was cool, so.
Yeah. I see on the news, it's like, oh my God, they want us to wash our hands?
Right.
Look down at my hands, and they're like covered in ants and stuff.
Right. Totally.
But
I've been saving that.
Yeah, exactly.
That was the one time that I shook hands with that one person I cared about. And then the Italian leader getting coronavirus, that's pretty intense.
It's a big deal, and it's hitting Italy really hard.
And as much as this pains me, I think we got to throw a bone to Ted Cruz, because Ted Cruz was at that same CPAC thing that the president and vice
everyone
president
was
were
at it.
But Ted Cruz is self-quarantining.
Really?
Yeah.
So, yeah. There's a pun floating out there somewhere about Ted Cruz and also people on cruises.
Oh yeah,
and
totally.
I don't want to bother trying to formulate it.
Right,
but just come up with your own pun, listeners. It'll be good, I promise.
Right, and you can throw in a little something about hiding out until he's finally able to grow in a mustache if you want. He's got a beard with no mustache.
Really?
Because he can't do it. Yeah, his mustache is.
So he's rocking like the sort of prospector or like mountain man kind of vibe.
Totally.
The Jebediah.
Right. Yeah, totally.
I don't know what that's called. I just call it the Jebediah.
Yeah. I assume there's not a lot of Mennonite listeners, so I guess we can mock that all we want. Do Mennonites listen to the radio? One of them listens to the radio.
It's a silly look. That's
Do you
what
think
I'm
Mennonites
saying.
believe in Nibiru?
I feel like they would if they had heard about it.
Right.
I feel like they're a ripe audience for Nibiru that ought to be exploited, probably. You just need to make like pamphlets.